When I was the director of the Shakespeare Theatre in Stratford, Connecticut, I was staying at a famous French teacher named Michio Saint-Denis' home, and I picked up a copy of Shakespeare, and I read Henry V. Now, this was right during the Vietnamese War, and I was opposed to the war, as almost everybody my age was at the time, and I thought, I don't want to do Henry V. My knowledge of Henry V was from Laurence Olivier's film, which was a very famous film. It was clearly a nationalistic, jingoistic epic. And I got to the first scene of the play after the chorus, does O for a Muse of Fire, and there's the Bishop of Ely and the Archbishop of Canterbury talking about how Henry wants to tax them inordinately, and they're going to lose their lands and some of their wealth. So what can they do to dissuade him, or really to turn his attention away from this? I thought, oh my Lord, this is already extraordinarily powerful thing where the church is lying to the king to set him to go to war, not for anything other than their own reasons. That, for somebody in their late 20s, was perfect. So I said, I'm going to do this play. And then I found out other things that Henry does. He kills the French prisoners against the rules of engagement, or when he kills his best friend, Bardolph. So I did this very Brechtian, cynical production, very modern. And we lit candles at the end, and marched to 42nd Street for a candlelight vigil. But I had difficulty. I could do all of that, all the tough stuff about hawks and doves and killing prisoners. But when it came to all the great speeches like St. Crispin Crispian and Once More Into the Breach, Dear Friends, I couldn't, I had to turn them around in some way and say they were propaganda. I had to take all of that greatness away in order to make my theory that this was an anti-war, anti-government play. When I came back to do it again, and I had realized over the years that the genius of Shakespeare is not that it's anti-war or pro-war, anti-government or pro-government, but that the issue of leading a country is the complicated one. Perhaps you do things in order for the country that are somewhat shady. Perhaps you do things that are against you because you know it's better for the whole. You can be heroic and you can be shallow. You can be idealistic and yet still have some cynicism. You can be all of these things in a rounded character. So I did almost the same physical production 4 years later, except my emphasis was on the contradictions in Henry. You can do a lot of what you want with Shakespeare, but I like to suggest to directors that Shakespeare's thought is wider and richer than our own. Because Shakespeare doesn't have a moral point of view, he is imminently reinterpretable by generation after generation or century after century. And it's right to do so. The plays are there to be looked at afresh each time.